Good afternoon. Thank you, Dan. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment to honor those who died 6 years ago in these very tragic September 11th terror attacks. 343 firefighters were amongst the almost 3,000 innocent people that died. And Maria and I express our profound sorrow to their loved ones. While we also at the same time want to honor our California firefighters who are right now on the front lines fighting all the wildfires all over the state of California and are also keeping us safe. So we want to thank them for their heroism. Now let's talk a little bit about the special session. Today I'm calling the legislature into special session to complete the work in both issues that we have started and that are absolutely vital to our state and to the quality of lives of all the people in California. Efforts to reform our broken healthcare system and to avert a water crisis are too important to walk away from simply because of a date in the legislator's calendar. We made great progress in both of these areas, but as you all know, that our budget negotiations took much longer than we thought. As a matter of fact, almost 2 months longer than we thought, and because of that, we ran out of time. But we owe it to the people of California to finish the job that we have started. And we are not going to go and now just stop this process because we were elected, obviously, to work for the people and to do everything we can and not to give up. I'm convinced that we are close enough on both of those issues that it deserves a little bit more effort, and therefore we should stay here. California needs comprehensive health care reform that is based on shared responsibility, controls costs, gets everyone insured, and protects the consumers. And Californians need clean, safe, and reliable water, not only 5 years from now, but in the next 20, 30, or 40 years. I've met with the legislative leaders, and I have no doubt that if we put in some extra time and effort, and if we have the will, anything is possible. We can accomplish those goals, and we can achieve the results that the people of California expect and deserve. Thank you, and now I'm more than happy to take some questions.
Governor, are you going to veto the bill by Don Ferrata on the electrical?
I think that I have until midnight, and that's when I will make up my mind. Sometimes before then.
Governor, the rumble around the Capitol today is that you would probably also call a special session on redistricting. In fact, Mr. Ferrata was already commenting on it, I guess in anticipation you would. For some reason why you didn't call a special session on redistricting?
Yeah, I don't think that Senator Ferrata had much interest in that, and so we will continue talking about that and negotiating. And remember, we can put it still on November ballot, next November's ballot. So I think this is still something I'm very interested in. I feel very passionate about redistricting. I've been talking about this ever since I got elected, so we will continue working on that.
Does that mean that you will not support the term limit measure that's on the ballot in January? That had been your indication before.
Well, I always link those two together, so we will continue talking about both of those issues.
Governor, since midnight passed our deadlines, are you inclined to let the war resolution go on the ballot without your signature?
What I do with that, I will make up my mind. I have really not made up my mind yet.
Can you tell us how you're thinking? Senator Ferrata is making this argument that you're the people's governor. You have favored putting some important issues in front of the people, including same-sex marriage and assisted suicide, so that, he thinks that you should put this in front as well.
Yeah, maybe he's a little bit confused. I've never put that initiative in front of the people, same-sex marriage nor assisted suicide. But maybe I've talked about it, that this is something that ought to go to the people. But, it is, I have not made up my mind. Okay. Immediately, tomorrow, yeah, or the day. It's the day, right, or tomorrow? When is it? If I call today, but I mean it starts today. Okay.
Governor, this idea of putting the sales tax into the mix and putting that financing package on the ballot?
Well, the sales tax has been something that has been recommended to us by the business community. And so there's many different recommendations that come in, and I think this is one of the advantages that we have this open process and is open to a policy to include all the different ideas from the outside. So this is one of the ideas. There's another idea that the Republicans have at the same time, which is tax credits. So we look at all of those different ideas, and you can't really pick one or the other because as we get into the negotiations and finish the negotiations, I think one of the important things will be the funding mechanism of all that. So it could be part of it or may not be part of it.
Governor, can you comment on Jerry Brown's agreement with Conoco today and the efforts with global warming?
No. I'm not aware of all the details, so I cannot comment on that.
Governor, Assembly Member Calderon sent to your desk Bill AB 976 that would prohibit that counties, cities, and landlords ask tenants for their immigration status in order to rent a house or an apartment. Can you give us an opinion about this, please?
Well, again, I think that if you talk about illegal immigrants, I think that it is very important to go back and say that we got to have comprehensive immigration reform, because it's the only way we solve those problems, because otherwise we do a piecemeal approach here. And I think we have to give the people, our farmers and our construction industry and everyone the possibility and the chance to go outside of the country and to find workers if they can't find the workers in this country. And we have to just, increase the amount of people that we can bring in. At the same time, we have to be able to secure the borders and, to do and reform the whole system so people then can also drive and all of those kind of things. Right now, we have a big mess, and it is sad that the federal government has, basically failed in that mission.
Governor, if the legislature goes around you to approve the CCPOA contract, will you definitely veto it, and do you think that they would have the unity to override you if you did?
Well, there's a lot of ifs, but let me just tell you that I am against the unions going around the process after they have not gotten what they wanted, to go around the process directly to the legislators and to do in the darkness of night to go and start brewing up some bill. I think that is the wrong way to go.
Governor, regarding healthcare reform,
yes, please.
Let's say that you call into special session, you don't come out to an agreement. What's next?
Again, I don't operate this way. I mean, to me, we have the special session. The leaders made it very clear they want healthcare reform. They made it very clear that they want water. And let me just say something. Even though I'm going to veto, Speaker Nunes' bill, but I want to congratulate him because he has done an incredible job. He has been open-minded. We have sat down, had endless amount of discussions about healthcare reform. I know the situation he's in, the difficult situation. We all are having certain difficulties about certain things, but I think that he has done an extraordinary job, and I think that he's a great leader. And I'm looking forward to sitting down with Speaker Nunes and to work on that, and to work on it until it is done. And the same I want to say about Senator Barrada. I think that Senator Barrada, just to be out there and to have his own water package and to feel so passionate about water, about the infrastructure, and to make sure that we provide water, not only, as I said, for the next 5 years, but to make sure that when the people turn on their faucet 30, 40 years from now, that there's water coming out, and that the farmers have water, and that we clean up the ecosystem and clean up the delta and all of those things. I think that's extraordinary. Both of those guys have done an extraordinary job, and this is why it's such a pleasure for me to work with them. So I'm looking forward to that special session.
Governor, I know you said,
yes, please.
Governor, are you prepared to sign a health care reform plan that doesn't have Republican support?
I always am looking forward to getting the support of both parties. I think what we have accomplished in the last few years was because both parties worked together really well. There's some things that Democrats are more excited about and you get more Democratic votes. There's some things that Republicans get more excited over and they get more Republican votes. But my intention always is to bring both parties together and then to try to work it out, because that's how we really can perform the best.
What if Republicans won't agree?
There's certain things they may not agree on, but as you know, that there's certain things that they do like, and so we want to include everybody.
Are you convinced that the health reform package will necessarily have to include a ballot measure at this point?
Well, I think that, if you talk about the funding mechanism, That's the only way, except if someone comes up with some miracle answer. But I mean, so far, the only way we can really create a funding mechanism is by doing that part and take it to the people, take it on a ballot. And to do it basically the same way as we've done with our infrastructure bonds, where the people here vote in this building, and then we put it on a ballot and let the people approve it. That's what we've done with the infrastructure bonds, and that's exactly what we want to do with healthcare reform.
Anticipate putting all those eggs in that basket, or to try to do some standalone stuff just through legislation?
Well, you know, it will be linked, because if you don't have the funding, you cannot do the reforms. So I think that it's good to go and say, let us come up with the policy here, and then let's go to the people and approve the funding mechanism, and that puts it all together into one, and then we have the really true reforms.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
How close are you?
Pardon me?
How close are you on the two issues? You said you were close.
Very close.
Next week?
This close? Very close.